This is the first time in my 40 plus years of career I feel I am the Shahid Kapoor or Amitabh Bachchan with the way the introduction was made, right? It's never so like full of buzz and full of elan. So it's an honor to be here. I'll share with you what I've been asked to do, our journey of the last 5 years or so since I joined. It's a little bit over 5 years and 8 months. And it started by retaining the purpose which is been guiding all Tata Group companies, creating a very clear strategy and culture as the enabler. In order to do anything in life, you have to have culture. Strategies can change, and culture is something that grows, whether with Motilal Oswal or with Indian hotels or our brands, over several decades. You can change the strategy for the next 3 years, next 5 years, but your core values and your culture is the key enabler for anything that you want to do. So we tried to, map the future. We created a vision, and then we started executing without any delay on our strategy. And as I said, using culture as an enabler. But it's important to step back and see where the company was coming from. We were a very cash-rich company. We were doing very well. And if this chart shows, we were outperforming the index in the years 2004 to 7. We went on for some international acquisitions and took a stake in Orient Express Hotels. And then came the Lehman crisis, the global financial crisis. And while we were renovating hotels when they opened in a market which had crashed. Not in India as much in the Western world was the case. And then on top of it came the attack on the Taj, the 26/11. And that crippled the company, and we became a loss-making company for almost 10 years. In between, there was 1 year where we had a small accounting profit. But generally, the company became loss-making and had a lot of loss leaders. And these are some numbers to show that more than 10% of PAT in 2007 and 8 and the years before, it was the case in our good days in the first decade of this century. And then we landed into a loss-making despite the revenue increasing significantly. And then we said, what if? What if a 115-year-old company, for those of you who don't know, the Indian Hotels Company is the oldest operating company of Tata Group. It's not Tata Steel. Tata Steel came after. The other companies which had opened up are not in operation. And then we said, what if this old legacy commenced on the journey of reimagination? And we said to all our top 40 executives, we gathered in Goa and we created the motive of taking charge, creating value, and shaping the future. Our purpose was to create value by operating best-in-class portfolio of hospitality brands in India and select overseas destinations. Select overseas, and that too with only the Taj brand, not other brands. We said in the Indian subcontinent, it could be different. That means in Sri Lanka or in Bangladesh or anything around us, or what you call South Asia, but outside, the only brand that we will take would be Taj, or will keep would be Taj. And our vision, we changed the vision from being only the most iconic. I don't need to explain to such a wonderful audience that Taj is the most iconic brand with all the palaces and all the kind of assets that we have built over a century. But we added the word, the most profitable company also coming from South Asia. This was a big change. If you're coming from a background of loss-making, suddenly to add most profitable, not profitable, but most profitable and most iconic, company. And then we had an unprecedented challenge. Before that challenge came, we had 9 consecutive quarters of margin expansion. We had profitability. We started on a journey which we called Aspiration 2022, and we guided the market and we delivered quarter on quarter. And I have to thank Motilal Oswal, which tracked us so closely, among the first ones to do so, and they can confirm every quarter was as per the design of the mapping that we had done. And when COVID came, we were shut down. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was there was suddenly a lockdown. From doing very well, embarked on a journey of profitability, we were suddenly in many hotels, almost 90% of the hotels, India or worldwide, were at zero revenue. Zero revenue, nobody taught how to deal with it. Everything was shut. Fear was inculcated that by going into hotels or restaurants, you get COVID. And from a sector which was providing more than 10% of the jobs globally, more than 10% of contribution to the GDP globally, it was halved. It came to less than 5, in some cases averaging 5.5, and 62 million jobs were lost alone in this sector. Our revenue, you can see how it went down in March of 22 when we had the Janta curfew, and 24th March was the lockdown. There was one good thing, however, I have to say. We never knew that it will take this long. Had we known that it will take this long, we might have given up. So we thought, okay, there is a lockdown by maybe the majority of the people. I'm not talking about hospitality. Generally, people thought that there is a pandemic, something is coming. Now, this might be over by end of April or end of May. And we also created scenarios. What if we reboot in July? What if we reboot in September? And what if it is at the latest in October, without knowing that the third wave, the Omicron, would extend the COVID till end of March of last year, not this year. And then one of the key driving force for us was hoping for that to change. Cannot be a strategy. We have to remain perseverant. We have to show resilience. We have to take care of our people. We have to take care of customers who got stranded. We did not lay off any of our permanent employees. We gave the best medical care to the people possible. We hosted more than 125,000 bed nights for frontline workers and provided almost 6 million meals in all the hospitals which were taking care to people who we called the COVID warriors. I spoke about aspiration and execution and that consistent performance. As early as April of within 1 week of the lockdown, we came up as a management with a strategy which said reset. And reset, I'll come to that in the next slide. And later, once COVID was getting over, we embarked again on the journey and we called it Avant 2025. So Aspiration 2022 to a very quick reset to onwards to Avant 2025. And reset was basically how to create revenue growth when there is a lockdown, how to have excellence in operation, how to make people safe in our hotels so that they start coming, including the frontline workers which we are hosting. So we came up with a slogan of Tajness as a commitment re-strengthened. It was a little bit more than masks and sanitization and how, cutlery was delivered and how food was delivered and all those methods of operational excellence so people feel safe. Spend optimization, spend only where necessary, and effective asset management. We used this time to do asset management initiatives which are helping us today. We did not stop growing, and we started renovating, and we started putting more money behind our assets. And finally, being thrift and financially prudent. We didn't do anything that was unnecessary, which was a wastage. And this helped us post-COVID to emerge stronger, as you can all see from our results which were announced 2 days ago, or for our annual results. We had an industry-leading position in recovery of the sector. We had industry-leading portfolio growth. I don't know how many of you would want to believe it took us 115 years to get to 125 contracts or 25 hotels in our portfolio, and it took us only following 5 years to add another 125. So we've embarked on a industry-leading portfolio growth. We have a pipeline of hotels, so these are all contracts signed, legally valid, announced to the market, which is almost 80 hotels today. So even if we stopped growing today, at least 70 of those 80 hotels will open in the next 4-5 years. We embarked on the journey of industry-leading footprint in India, exactly in the ethos of the Tata Group in terms of nation building. Today, we are present in 125 plus locations. We created new brands during the pandemic. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Cumin as a home delivery. Cumin was created on 25th of June in 2020. And it lives on. It's done very, very well for us. It's now also becoming a part of our Ginger Hotel, where the all-day dinings are becoming the QSR, quick service restaurants under Cumin. We created homestays with Ama, which is another 125 plus villas that we have in, let's say, Chikmagalur or in Kannur and in a lot in Goa. And we had industry-leading value creation. Today, you can be proud, all of you can be proud, that a company from India has the highest market cap per room. We don't have that kind of scale, but if we took our market cap from listed companies and divided by number of rooms, today we are number one. We also ended up having Taj as the world's strongest hotel brand for 2 years in a row. And this year we are among the first 4. But the preceding 2 years, we were the strongest. And in the last 4 years, 3 of the last 4 years, Taj became the strongest brand across all sectors. These are all ratings done by the most renowned brand agency in the world called Brand Finance, based out of UK. So they track brands in India. So Taj became ahead of all possible brands. In the top 10, you have HDFC, you have Amul, you have Jio. So actually Jio, where we are all seated here, right? So it was the 1 year we became number 2. The number 1 was Jio. That was in 2021. And this is a simple pyramid which encompasses everything that I said, that your bedrock is your values. Taj values became common to all brands, that is trust, awareness, and joy. Tata values of integrity, excellence, unity, responsibility, and pioneering. Our enablers being our organization, our people, our culture. One Tata to synergize excellence in our ESG plus program Pathya, which I'll show you towards the end. And our 3 initiatives: reimagining our brandscape, re-engineering our margins, restructuring our portfolio to become the most iconic and most profitable company. And this we adjusted when we communicated Avan 2025. We said we'll have a portfolio of 300 plus hotels in the year 25-26. We'll have a balanced portfolio, which means not just asset light, because we have these iconic assets that we own. So 50% will be owned, 50% will be managed. And in good times like now, that owned portfolio is giving us the required operating leverage on a positive side. And the managed portfolio, the other 50, is providing us the EBITDA margins that are needed, because the flow-through of management contracts is higher. And then we guided a 33% EBITDA margin. Our average in the year 2008 to 17 was less than 14. We went to 25 and we gave a guidance of 33, which means from every 3 rupees of revenue, you're making 1 rupee in EBITDA. This is, for our sector, a very, very aggressive kind of a number. And we used the pandemic, raised capital, and took out the debt. So at a corporate level, we want to stay at zero net debt so that these kind of times don't come. In fact, to have a cash reserve so that if anything bad comes in, we don't have to borrow. Now I'll show you this journey, which I will again walk through the slides, but the best is to watch it on a short film on our transformation. it feels very good to see these iconic assets, right? Makes you also feel proud. Very quickly, so we promised profitability and we delivered record performance. And the company went on to have, as you saw in the movie, enterprise revenue, which is how other Western chains count. Our consolidated revenue is a little less than 6,000 crores. You can say almost 6,000 crores. But system-wide, because of the asset-light growth, the 50% that I spoke about, if you took it system-wide, it's around 11,000. We had 1,000 crore free cash flow, and the market cap increased 2.5x from pre-COVID level and 3.5x in last 5 years. So the journey became good, returns became superior, and all this despite the 2 years of COVID. And I don't know how many of you noticed there was something called Tajness Day on the movie to salute our people, to celebrate the people who worked tirelessly during COVID. 24th of March, which is the day of the lockdown, we've called it the Tajness Day, where we celebrate our staff, and we started it this year. And we also delivered last year, all 4 quarters were record Q1s, record Q2, record Q3, record Q4. 2 days ago, when we announced our Q1 result, it again beat the Q1 of the previous year, and we had an increase in top line of 17% and a profit after tax of 31%. We promised a reimagined brandscape, and we delivered performance across all brands, from what I very much like to call from just a branded house where everything was a bit of Taj. We unleashed the potential of all the brands to become a house of brands. So I think this slide depicts it well. And IHCL is not a name that was given 5 years ago. That was a name given by the founder of Tata Group, Jamshedji Tata. The company was always listed as Indian Hotels Company Limited. We just started using that name as an umbrella so that all brands underneath it feel independent, feel good, feel strong, and do not require the support, of course, of our main brand, our crown jewel, that is the Taj. This you also saw on the movie, and we started getting these accolades. But very important, our net promoter score is around 68.6, which is the highest, and the second best in international comp set comes to 67.8. As a matter of practice, TrustU does not, which is the portal that does these scoring, they don't give the names of who's the second or who's the third. TripAdvisor score of 96.32, Booking score of 85.52, and a Google score of 91.28 on our rankings. All this was enabled by our culture, as I said at the beginning, and which is the culmination of both Tata Group culture. And I'm coming here actually from Bombay House because today is the birthday of J.R.D. Tata, and this afternoon we have that celebration. And the afternoon, the celebrations will be there, and I think that's a very good guiding force. We also have the culture of a lot of programs which are designed around our employees. They say, you look after your people and the people will look after your guests. That's the best mantra for any sector, especially for hospitality sector. And that we saw very well during the Tajness Day that we celebrated on 24th of March. Also on Pathya, which is our ESG Plus program, which was also launched in March of last year. We said we'll preserve heritage and brand. We were always contributing to that with the Banaras Sari weavers as an example. We'll progress sustainable growth. We'll be a partner in transformation. We'll promote environmental stewardship, promise social responsibility, and the G, prudent corporate governance. Taj Mahal Palace Tower became 100% green. We could not do it alone through renewable energy. We had to buy some bonds to get to 100, which we did because we thought as the flagship, that is the most important thing to do. Before I end with what Jamshedji Tata said in a little movie on Pathya, I would just like to repeat what he said. In a free enterprise, the community is not just another stakeholder, but is in fact the very purpose of its existence. There is a relevance to why I say what I said and why I want to stop or take a minute here. Is this purpose was defined 155 years ago. I think a lot of companies, groups talk about purpose, vision, mapping in the recent few decades, but this dates back to the founders' messaging 155 years ago at the formation of Tata Group. Now a short movie, I think it's very important, it's a key learning for me. I lived outside of India for almost 3 decades, but I have to say in the western part of the world, a lot is taken care by the governments and what it means to do here and the kind of joy and satisfaction it gives should be documented, should be spoken about, and I think this film does more justice than me talking about it.
People and places, happy, smiling faces. That's what this world is about. Heaven on earth is laughter and mirth, the secret of life, without doubt. The magic of nature, the best of our culture, needs commitment to protect and save. Cheers to the chaps, each one a lamp, with a vision inspired and brave. More and more people, the earth's numbers steeple. Sustainable growth is the call. What life's worth living without the value of giving? Together we should all stand tall. Leading by example, every act a sample of saving tomorrow today. Taking just what we need, not feeding our greed, letting our steps lead the way. Thank you for talking that talk with us. Thank you for walking that walk with us. Thank you for seeing eye to eye with us. Thank you for dreaming that dream with us. Thank you for standing for the weak with us. Thank you for sharing the journey with us. Thank you for building tomorrow with us. Thank you for erasing sorrow with us. Thank you for powering Pathya with us. Thank you for powering Pathya with us.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was a brief overview of our journey from aspiration, reset to Avan, and I remain very confident, very optimistic about our future. I think the best is yet to come, and especially for our sector with the G20, with the World Cup, with the Miss World, with foreign tourist arrivals yet to get to 100% of the pre-COVID level, and with our phenomenal growth on a very asset-light model mostly, I remain optimistic that Indian Hotels will be serving all of you, the community, and will continue to shine as the crown jewel, especially with the brand Taj in the Tata Group. Thank you very much.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.